Welcome back everyone, it's Chris. In the last couple of videos, we were able to set up the CRUD for the expenses. So a user is able to log in, come in here, create expenses. They can edit and delete them. So we've already added the pagination to the expense lists. We've added the Ajax search. So pretty much everything that we wanted to do about our CRUD. So in this one, I want us to start working on the income CRUD. So it's going to be a lot similar to this. So we are actually going to be reusing most of the stuff we've already learned, just so we could put up the CRUD faster we could put up the CRUD for the income faster. So if this is the first video you're finding, I recommend you check out the playlist that this video is in. I cover most of the CRUD stuff more in detail in the previous one. So in this one, I'm going to be going a bit faster on them just because we've covered them before. But if you're new, I will also try as much to explain everything that I'll be doing. So let's just get started. So first thing, we are going to need to set up a link from here so that you can go to the page and create income records and have everything there. So to start, I'm going to need to first create an app to manage that basically. So let me actually zoom this one in a bit. Okay, so Python manage.py start app. So I'm going to call this app user income. Okay, so but you can call it anything. You can call it income, but I'm just going to call it user income. So once you have your name, then you can create the app. So this now basically creates a folder with all the app structure. So we'll basically start out in the models.py. Like I said, we're going to be going very fast because we've looked at this. So I'm going to come in here in the models.py for our expenses app. Then I'll bring in everything, then we will update them accordingly. So in the models.py, I'm going to replace this. So we are going to need the models, of course, to define our model here. So we are going to need the user because we want to link the user to an income. But first, let's change our model name. So this is going to be income. Okay, I'm actually going to call it user income, but you can call it anything, doesn't matter, as long as it's a valid class name by the Python way. The amount is going to be a float field, although we could make it a decimal field, which is actually more recommended because with decimals you can get much functionality with them than float fields. But we'll keep float fields for now, but decimal fields would as well be a great fit for this. So the date we will have it, the description, yes, the owner, yes. So what will change will be the categories. So the income actually will not have a category, but will have a source. So a source of income, so that will be where someone recording an expense will have gotten that money from. So that will be the source. We will create some predefined sources. So about the category, this is going to be the source. So we will create this table that will go in and prefill with some income sources. So about the plural name, so when it comes to source, it doesn't have issues with naming. For example, category will not, so categories will be postfixed with this, so which is wrong. But when it comes to source, as long as an S is added, it's going to be correct. So we don't need the meta. So we need the string representation. Once we have this, now we can run our migrations. But before we do that, we need to register this app in our main app settings file. So in settings.py, scroll down to where you have the installed apps, then add our new app, which is user income. Okay, so once you have it there, now we are ready to run the migrations such that our tables can be updated. So this is going to be make migrations. And this creates the two migrations, so we need to migrate them such that the tables actually get applied. So migrate, and yeah, so that updates everything you can see here. So once we have that, now we need to start working out on our view. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start by doing is create a view to show the list of income records. So in our templates right here, I'm going to create a new file in a folder. It's going to be called income. So the folder is going to be called index.html. Okay, so right here, basically we are going to start out by getting how our index.html in the expenses looks like, because they're going to look almost similar. Okay, so let's edit it accordingly. So you see we inherit our base HTML. That's because we want to get access to other parts of our page. So this is going to import in everything like CSS, the header, everything. So in the main content, see we wrote static. So if we want to like use JavaScript on this page, we can do that. CSS and images, we can do that. So this is a tag that we load to enable us to do that. Now in the block content, this is where we are going to put our markup, our main markup. So this I will change to income, then this will be my income, cool. So this view will change to add income. Okay, so this will be the button to click, for a user to click, and then they can go to a page where they can add a new income record. Okay, so right here we are bringing in our flash messaging just so we can get alerts when we like submit a new record. So this here we check before we show the table. So here we check that a user has some records. So this is going to change to income. So income.count, when this returns true, basically it will mean that the count was greater than 0. So that will mean this query set will pass down will have more than 0 values. Okay, so down here this will be our search input. It's going to be the same. So here the only thing that's going to change in our table headers is going to be, we are going to now have the source instead of the category. So if you scroll down, this will be the source, but we of course we want to change this object name. So right here I'm going to comment out everything for now, and then we'll come back and edit them later. So from where the table is, actually from where okay, so from where the table is, I'm going to comment out everything, even the table results. So I'm going to comment out up to here. Okay, so let's look on top here. Okay, so I believe that's going to do it for now. So right here we need to change this file. So I'm going to change this to be search income.js. Then we need to create it, of course. So let's just do that now. So search income.js. This will be the file that handles the user search. So I'm going to bring it in here, .js, then we'll get back to it later. Okay, so I'm pretty not certain about our comment here. So let me actually make sure it's the correct thing. Okay, so VS Code actually can allow us to minimize them just so we can look at them better. Okay, so everything is in here. Then this is the main row, so we need to look at this. Okay, so we are working in this one, so let's expand it. Okay, so this is what we need to basically comment out everything here, and that goes all the way to, let's see, let me check it again. Okay, so everything here, interesting, VS Code. Okay, so that does the job. So now everything is commented out, meaning we are only supposed to have the breadcrumb and then the button to add a new one. Okay, so let's now work on our views just so we don't get errors trying to reference this view name. So in our app, if we go to views.py right here, so right here we are going to now start out with what we already have in the expenses app. So let's go to the expenses app and get the views. So right here I'm actually going to bring in the index and the add for now. So let me bring those two in, copy this, then let's bring them into our app. So views.py, let's bring them in here, then let's edit them a bit. Okay, so this will reference the sources. So let me just call it source because this is the model name. So let's import that model name just from .models. Import source, of course, will be used much time. Then the second thing will be user income. Okay, so let's import that one into. Then this will replace everything where we have the expense. Let's import the paginator. So from Django.core.paginator, import the paginator just so we can have our pagination. Okay, so this one for the currency, yeah, we are going to need it. So let's bring in the user preference. So that now gets imported from user preferences .models, import user preference. Okay, good. So right here, I'm going to actually remove this absolute import. Let's keep it relative. So once we have that, now we see we are going to be sending down. It's going to be called income. Then the page object, this is used for pagination. Then of course the currency is very much needed. So right here, we are going to be going to the income index.html, the template we just created. Let's replace this income to be this. Okay, so it's going to be the same thing here. So about the add expense, this is now going to be sources. So we can as well change that. Then this will be the source of the income. When it's a GET request, we want to send a page called income, then add income.html. So let's update that. Then about the post request, basically what we want to do is check for the amount. Yes, we want to show an error when the amount is not provided. So let's import the messages. So from Django contrib, import messages. Once we have that, we check for the category. So this now will change to source. Okay, so about the description, we are going to keep the same. So let's now change everywhere we have expenses. So then now this will be source. Then this will be source, of course, the one we get from the request.post from the form. Okay, so let's change this to be user income, create everything. Then we want to say income created successfully. Then we redirect to our main income view. So let's import in the redirect from shortcuts. Okay, so once we have that, let's change this. Actually, let me just look out for everywhere we have expense and change that to income. Okay, so let's reiterate through this view. So basically what we do here, we create this function views, then we protect it from unauthenticated users using this decorator. And then for it, you see it takes in the login URL. So this is the route to where they can log in back. And the reason why we provide it is because when a user logs, like tries to access this and gets redirected to the login screen, we have the next parameter. So when they log in again, they don't directly go to the app index page. They go to the previous route they tried to access when they were not authenticated. So this is something cool that's built in. We set up the context. So this is data that's going to be used in our templates. So one of them is going to be the sources. Basically, this will be useful when we are showing a select list for user to select the sources of income. The values here, this we use to pre-fill the information in the form when like a user gets an error and we want to re-render the form. Okay, so these are our basic validations. I want to rename this. So when there is no amount, we re-render the same page, give them an error. So when everything is fine, we create the new instance and then tell them that it was saved. Good. So let me change this one to record. Then we redirect to the home page. So let's create the add_html file, add income HTML file. So when we come to our template, right here, I'm going to create a new file. Actually, I need to rename it, just add some extra character. Just get it in shape. Okay, so this is going to look a lot similar to this. So I'm going to copy everything we have in the add expense. So right here, now we can update it accordingly. This is going to be going to, basically this is the breadcrumb. This link will now go to income. Then this will be income. So this will change to add income. And now the form will submit to the same view. So the view is add income and not add expense. So we bring in our CSRF token to protect against cross-site request forgery. The amount, yes. The values to prefill when we are rendering the page, good. The description, yes. The category, we are changing the category to sources. So we'll be ripping through the sources that we will predefine. So this will be source in sources. Okay, so this now will be source, and it should be the same name in the parent array. So this will be source 2. So and this one will be source. So from the category, so this also should be source. So let's update it. So this now changes to date of income, and then this will be income underscore date. Okay, good. So we are moving. So if we go to our URLs, basically we need to set up our URLs. So if we look at the URLs in the expenses, so basically here we are rendering the main view, main URL, the index really. So this is the one to create, the one to edit, the one to delete, the one to search. So I'm going to take everything just so we can save some time. Then we need to create actually a file for the URLs. So urls.py. Then we bring them in. So it's going to be a lot similar. So this is going to now point to income, and everything where we have expense will be income. Okay, so let me get that and repress this. Repress this. This. Do we have expense anywhere else? Okay, so this should be edit income. Okay, so looking good. So now that we only have the index and then the add, I'm going to comment out these ones just so they don't shout at us. So let's now register it in the main application URLs, and then we can see how to test it out. So in the main application urls.py, I will replicate this. Then this will be income. Then this will be user income.url. So basically what this will be now will be the prefix for all these other children routes. So basically it's going to be /income/ the view route here. So this is pointing out to all the views defined in the other URL patterns. Cool. So let's now go to our, so basically now we need to set up the link from here, just so it can go to the page where we can see the income. Okay, so let's go there. So if we move to our templates, you notice that we have the sidebar HTML. So this is where we need to add that link. Okay, so this is linking to expenses. So now we need to set up the one to link to our income views. So right here, let's bring in the URL utility. So this goes to income. Good, so let's rerun the server. Okay, so we have an issue. So we need to check some imports. Let's see. Okay, so we have another issue. This is in the login required. We also need to import it. So this is gonna come in from Django, contrib, auth, decorators, login required. Okay. So now the server is up. Let's check it out. So the app is running. When I click on income, you can see that we are taken on a page where we should be seeing the list. So we also have a link to create. So when I click it, you can see that the form to add income is showing, and it's showing correctly. So let's try to add the income since we worked on the post. Okay, so right now we have an issue that our select isn't updating with the sources. So I'm just going to go to the admin and then add some sources. Okay, so when we come to the admin, first thing you notice is our income model is not registered here. So let's do that. So in the app admin.py, we need to import our model. So from .models, let's import our two models. One will be user income, then another one will be source. Okay, so we need to register this to the admin site. So we can do that by doing admin.site.register, and then we can give it one by one. So user income, this is gonna be source. Okay, so once we have that, we can check again now. You can see that the two are now registered and we can view them. So this is actually not correct. So we are going to also define a plural name for user incomes because it should still be income, I believe. So but let's continue. So now in the sources, we can now add a source. So this one is going to be like maybe salary, because of salary. Let's have that. Okay, so add another one for business. I'm not sure if you'll be doing a business and then you're paying yourself salary. I don't know how that would feel. Okay, so right here, let's also add maybe side hustles. Okay, so let's save it. So now that we've added these three, if we go back to our income creation page, so income, add income, you can see that our sources are updated. So let's try again. I'm gonna put 100K description. Let me pick a date here, save it. Then you can see that we are redirected here. So now let's now like uncomment our code in the HTML to show the table. Okay, so in the index, which is right here, let's now come over here and then uncomment this code. Okay, so let's see if there is an easier. Okay, so we're going to need to remove the comments, then remove them down. Okay, so let's first edit out the things that we are not going to need. So for example, we check for the count, which is good. We are bringing in the messages. So last time you saw the message didn't show, like for create successful, but now this will be able to show it. So if we move down, we need to change expense to represent income because this is something else. So let's change this to be income. Okay, so this will go to income edit, which we need to create the view. Okay, this is the search stuff. This will change to source. Okay, so down, basically we'll keep everything about the pagination. It's gonna be all the same. Okay, so now I think we can test it out. So save it. Oh, we need to change this one to source. Okay, shouldn't forget that. Okay, so save it, come around and reload. And then it's complaining about the view for edit that we have not set up yet. So let's do that. So in our income, let's add another HTML page. This one is going to be called edit_income.html. This is where we're going to do all our edits. So in the expenses.py, you can see the edit expense.html. So we're going to copy all of it, bring it down to edit income. Let's go over it one more time. So we bring in our template, our main template that wraps like all our design, which is here. So in the main content block, this is where we are now setting up our custom edit form. So right here, I'm going to change this to go to income. When a user clicks there on that breadcrumb, then this should change to, this will change to add income. You remove the spaces, good. The delete, we need it, but it's gonna go to income delete. Okay, so you might have noticed that we are using the income.id. So this is something that we send through the view. Like I'll show you, since this is like a detailed view, we bring in the messages, then the token, because we have a form to submit. So the form is going to submit to the exact view that will be rendering this. which will be edit, which will be income edit. Bring that one in. This will be the income that will pass in through the view. So we keep everything here. So this will change from category to source. So let's replace category to source. Okay, so I think, so this should be sources. This should now be date of income. So let's replace it. And the name should be income underscore date. Okay, looking good. So about the value, you can see that we are able to display it, to prefill it in the form, in the edit form. And the way we do that basically is using this date filter that enables us to specify the format that the HTML will understand. Okay, so good. Then the button will say save, which is good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and work on the views. Okay, so in the views.py for expenses, which is here, so we have the expense edit and then the expense delete. So I'm going to get the two because we are going to be using almost a similar thing. And if there's something that you really don't get here, just post it in the comment section below. I'll come around and answer it for you. You can as well check out the previous videos because I explained these things in depth. So in the views.py, down, I'm going to now bring these ones in. So let's go over them in a bit. Okay, so the expense edit now will be income edit because now we are editing income. Okay, so let me rename it to income edit. So the view basically takes in an ID. So this ID will be the primary key of the income record that will fetch the record by. So right here, we can now create an income instance, and then we are going to query the user income table for this instance. So once we get it, now we can use it in our view like I showed you. Okay, so this will change to sources, and then we are going to be querying the sources relation or table. Okay, so this now will change to income, then this will be income. The values, we basically will pass the previous income instance. So in the form we can use that. So the categories will change to sources, of course. So if it's a get request, then we want to render the template. So the template is going to be called edit underscore income. I believe that's how I called it. So I'm going to select all the occurrences, and then I will update them accordingly. So it's going to be edit income.html. If not, I will have to go back and rename it, but let me check. Templates, income, it's add underscore. Okay, so let me update this. Okay, so this is going to be going to income / add underscore income.html. When it's a get request, basically we show them the view, and then we send our dynamic data just so we can prefill that information. So if it's a post request, we check the amount. If it's not there, we show a message. Then we render the page. So we check the description. So this gets the description. So here we need to check by another field. Okay, so the field name for editing the date is going to be called income underscore date. So let's change that. And then here, this is going to be the source. So source has a name of source, so you can get it like that. Okay, so if there's no description, we basically show them the error. Then if everything is good, we now update. Actually, we don't need to even update the owner because we are the owners. So we update the amount, we update the date, we update the source. So this should be source. The description, good. Then we save it, and then we tell them income, I'm going to call it record. So it's going to be record saved, updated successfully. Good. And then we should redirect to our income list view. Good. So about the delete, this is going to be delete income, and then you see text in the request and the ID. So we get the income from user income. Then now we can do, this should now be income. So now we get it from the DB, then we delete it. So once we do that, then we tell them that maybe the record was removed. Okay, let's do that. Then we return to the main list view. Okay, so now we can uncomment our URLs. So if we go to our urls.py right here, you can see that they are ones we were commenting out. So the edit one, we now have it. The edit delete, we have it, but we don't have for the search, so I'll keep it away for now. Okay, so once we have that, let's test to see what we have. So if we come back to the site and then click income, you can see that now we are basically showing our record. Okay, and if we come back here and then try to add another one, I'm actually going to use this just so it's quick here. Let's choose a date, click submit. You can see that it's saved, it's updated here, but then we have an issue. So this table that should be showing only when we are searching is actually showing by default. So we need to now work on our JS to make sure that it's not showing by default. Okay, so if we go to our static files, so that will be in here. So static JS, you can see that we created the file that we linked to. So we are going to now reuse everything we had in our search expenses JS. So bring it in search income, and then what it's gonna do is it's going to get the table output, and then it's going to remove it from the DOM when the page is rendered. Okay, so at least that should do it for us. So if I come here and reload, let me just hard reload. Sometimes it takes a hard refresh. You will see that now the downer part is gone. So now we brought in the search. So we brought in the search here. So we need to also work on that. But this first test now. So when we come over here, you can see that we show the list. Let's look at the edit. So when we click on edit, if you look in my left bottom corner, you can see that we are going to income, edit, and then I believe we have an issue. It should be like /1 or something. So, but when we click there, you can see that we go there, but I want to prefix this with a slash. Okay, so to do that, let's first examine our view, our URLs, and then we see how we are linking to that. So in the app, let's look at the urls.py. So when it comes to edit, this one, you can see that we don't have a slash here. So let's add it. Okay, so let's come back here, reload, click on edit, and then now you can see that it goes there correctly. So everything is pre-filled, so we can change the date. Let's say we change this date to be like today, which is 9th. Then the money to be like, start with the 44. When we try to save, you can see that it's saved and then it's updated here. Even this is now updated to 9th. Good. So the update is working. The pagination is working. So it's not showing the links because we have not hit the items per page number. But once we add more, it's going to show and it's gonna work. Okay, so now that we have that, let's work on our search. So now when we come in here and try to search, it's actually not working. It's searching another endpoint. So to fix this, we are now going to come and add the search. So we're going to now add our search view. So to get the search view, let's look at what we already have in the expenses app. So right here, where is it? Expenses, views.py. So the first one, so I'm going to bring in the search expenses, and then we will turn it into our search. We will modify it to fit our search for the income. So first thing, I'm going to rename this to search income. So basically we look out for a post request from the user, and then we see like in their JSON that they send, we basically convert it to a Python dictionary using the JSON utility. So import JSON here. Okay, so this gives us the string they are searching by, because you see when you get the dictionary by turning it to by using loads, we now do a get to get like the value they send. So once we get that, now we filter out the user income model. So right here, we basically will search by the amount, the date, the description, and then when it comes to the source, we'll do that too. So we switch it for category. So I'm going to now replace the expenses everywhere with our user expense model because things have changed. Okay, so just a reminder, we query by two properties just to make sure that a user who is getting these results is actually the one that created them, so the current logged in user. The magic happens in the I contains like we saw. So this basically can do a very good full text search, and then the I basically means that it's going to be case insensitive. So once we get the values, you see we use the income values and then we set them to data. So now let's render them over as JSON using the JSON response class. So let's import it from HTTP. So Django HTTP import JSON response. Okay, so now the endpoint is actually set. So in the view, let's make sure it's going to the correct place. So it's going to search income, which is good. Okay, so now that we are done with that, we need to update our JavaScript search file, which is in static.js, then search income. Okay, so we need to update the endpoint. So right now, if you come over here and you go to like edit, you can see that our URLs are prefixed with income, then the name, okay, the income, that's the URL namespace, and then the name that we set up, the URL we set up for the view basically. So this now we'll have to prefix it with the namespace and then the name. So this is now going to be search income. Okay, so once we have that, we can now come and test it out. Let's go to income and let's try to search. Let's put like a 4. You can see that I've actually put a 2. You can see that it's now matching some results. And that's because if you see clearly, it's matching by the dates, which will always match. But when I search for something like description, you can see that it matches 1. If I search for the money value, you can see that it matches. So looking good. So at this point, I want us to fix this issue. So right here, when we type like 4, you can see that the source is undefined, and that's because we haven't actually updated the properties we look at. So the property, this will change from category to source. So I'm going to update that. So if I come back and reload, then you can see that the source is now updated correctly. We can edit. Let's test out the delete. When you delete, it goes away. Okay, so looking good. So for now, we are done with the CRUD, at least for now. So in the next ones, I'm going to be showing you guys how to graph this data like against each other, like graph the income against the expenditure, look at how we can visualize data using Chat.js and Django. So I'll be excited to see you then. If this video helps you, please consider subscribing the channel, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have any questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.